Did you know that although the 21st is the longest night of the year, the sunset has already started getting later and later in the day? We passed that last week, actually, the earliest sunset. And I learned that on the radio from this avid scientist who was talking about how this works and how, although the 21st is the longest night, it's not even between the day and the night. So as we lean into the longest night, and coming up this Sunday, the fourth Sunday of Advent, welcome back to the darkness. Maybe it's taught us things along this way. Maybe this December has brought new lessons for you. I find, though, that it's true about the darkest night, just like it is in life, that sometimes it's already started to get lighter before we realize. Because our eyes have adjusted to the darkness, in fact, it's light that sneaks up on us. I invite you into this time together with a call to worship. During Advent, we are called to settle into the exquisite darkness, to hibernate, rest, and restore. This cycle was given to us at the time of creation. We are invited to face the darkness in our own lives and in the world around us. The prophets assure us that darkness will not overcome us. They call us to watch for the light, notice the light, and be warmed by its rays. We are called to watch, to wait, to hope, to trust in promises made. As we make this Advent journey, we claim we come alive both in the darkness and in the light. For our scripture reading leading us into darkness tonight, I invite you to, on your own time, read all of Psalm 18. It uses a lot of really interesting language and images, both for God and for people. And there are 3 verses that I want to lift up here, which talk about the interplay between God and the darkness. The psalm reads in verses 9, 10, 11, and 28. O Lord, you parted the heavens and came down with a dark cloud of waters under your feet. You mounted on cherubim and flew. You swooped on the wings of the wind. You wrapped darkness around yourself. You made dark waters and thick clouds your pavilion. And then later, surely you, O Lord, light my lamp. My God makes my darkness bright. My God makes my darkness bright. That last image, as well as this image of God wrapping darkness around God's self like a cloak, is powerful and needed. Or I think we need it sometimes, to be able to wrap darkness around ourselves. Be okay with it. Sit in it sometimes. I invite you to reflect on these themes as we listen to a beautiful piece, Lo, How a Rose Are Blooming, played on organ by our musician, Pat Henry. our author and inspiration for this series, Barbara Brown Taylor's Learning to Walk in the Dark. The last of her experiments with literal darkness is taking a trip all by herself with her dog out into the woods to a cabin with no power, no lights, spending the night there, going through the darkness in a new way. And at the end of that chapter, reflecting on this experiment, this is what she writes. Now, I should note that some of those nights in the cabin were easy and some were not. She writes, "One thing this frightening night and the others have in common is the conspicuous absence of God. During the frightening night, I actively pleaded for God's divine intervention. Here I simply announced my readiness to listen, but all I hear are the normal sounds of a summer night in the North Georgia woods. It is not that I expected to hear an actual voice, but I have courted the beloved long enough to know what it is like to receive a divine visit. It is like coming home after a long time away. It is like being held by someone with all the time in the world. It is like remembering a dream that opens a door. Earlier in my life, I wanted more specificity than that. I wanted a divine parent who would give me answers, clear guidance, specific tasks. Now that I have accepted responsibility for supplying those things myself, it is enough to step away from them from time to time, resting in the presence of the beloved who accepts all answers, covers all directions, finishes all tasks. Tonight, it is possible to accept this peaceful darkness as a token of the divine presence. Maybe you've known those frightening nights and the peaceful ones, pled aloud or waited for God's voice, and I see that little reflection as an invitation to get to know the beloved more and hear God in new ways. In the next chapter, she writes about her much anticipated visit to the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Chartres, Paris, France, just about an hour by train outside of Paris. Now, the Chartres Cathedral is known, or Chartres Cathedral is known best for its labyrinth. It's stone and it's in the floor of the church nave, but it's in this pattern. I have a finger labyrinth that I can do as a prayerful devotion that's in the same pattern, and maybe you've seen labyrinths that you can walk in different places. But so the church is most known for that, for its stunning architecture and beautiful decorative arts. But here's what Barbara Brown Taylor writes about her trip. She says, "The cathedral's labyrinth was spectacular, but I expected that. What I did not expect was the church beneath the church, the vast crypt that was undamaged by the fire of 1194 and became the footprint for the new Gothic cathedral above. No one knows why there are no tombs down there, but there are none. There is an ancient well where legend says Norse invaders threw 2 Christians down in the 9th century, but other than that, the crypt is simply one long mall of chapels, 7 plain Romanesque ones along the side, and the chapel of Notre Dame de Sous-Terre at the end, Our Lady of the Underground, a low, dark cavern lined with dark wood pews. Above the altar is a small wooden statue of a Madonna and Child, carved to replace the more ancient one destroyed during the French Revolution. Mother and child are both so dark that it is difficult to see them from a distance. It is only when I walk behind the altar for a closer look that I see clearly the face of the stiff woman sitting on a throne with her stiff baby on her lap. Her eyes are closed, his are wide open. Neither of them is lovely, and yet they are arresting, if only because they require such effort to see. Art historians count the statue among the many Vierges Noires. Apologies for my French. In France, black virgins, so called not because of their features are African or because they have gotten covered up with candle soot, but because their skin is dark. According to one theory, Mary's skin is dark because when Catholic devotion to the Virgin replaced Druidic devotion to the goddess, Mary inherited the goddess's dark skin. Another theory favors the identification of Mary with indigenous people. The darker she is, the more she resembles those who serve instead of those who rule. I have seen plenty of Romany women in France begging for food for their children, and Our Lady of Underground does not look like one of them. She looks like Eleanor of Aquitaine, only darker. As I continue looking at her after I return to my pew, another possibility occurs to me. The darkness is not meant to convey anything about Mary. It is meant to convey something about those of us who look at her. We see through a glass darkly. She does not care about how curious we are. We can rest a flashlight right on her nose if we want to, and she still will not open her eyes. No amount of light can make her give up her mystery. Earlier at the gift shop, I saw a silver medal with her image on it and her mantra on the back. Quote, "All must come through me in order to live in the light," it read. She might as well have signed it, Our Lady of the Cave. By the way, I found a picture of this crypt and the Our Lady of the Underground, so I'll post that on the blog. I'd hold it up for you, but it would be too hard to see. So go to the blog and check out that picture. Our Lady of the Underground never asks me to choose between the day and the night. If I want to flourish, I need the ever-changing darkness as much as I need the full light of day. Give your heart to them both, she says. When I complain that I cannot see as well at night as I can during the day, she tells me this is a good thing. Maybe it will slow you down. When I tell her I cannot get as much done at night because the darkness makes me sleepy, she says, yes, that is the plan. Maybe you will get some rest. When I point out that slowing down just makes me think about things I would rather not think about, she laughs. Do you think that not thinking about them will make them go away? She is always right. What do you want from me, I ask. Nothing, she says. At first, I think she means that she does not want anything from me, but that is not what she means. She means she wants nothing for me, because she knows how scared I am of it, being nothing, doing nothing, believing nothing, being good for nothing, ending up nothing, nada. She seems to think that there is more to it than that, which is why she wants it for me. If I could lean into it a little more, she says, I might be surprised. I tell her I will take it under consideration. Like I said, I'll post a picture of Our Lady of the Underground on the blog, so go over there and check it out. It's pretty cool. and a neat experience that she talks about. The last part of the book, she kind of is reflecting about this whole journey that she's been on, this journey to explore the dark. And in doing so, she writes about exploring the dark. Your job is as simple and as hard as this. Drop what you believe about the dark or have been taught about the dark, to see for yourself what is true. Whatever it is bound to be different for you than for me. It is also bound to change, since endarkenment, like enlightenment, is a work in progress. The best thing I can say is that learning to walk in the dark has allowed me to take back my faith, removing it from the full glare of the solar tradition to recover by the light of the moon. Now, the sun still comes up, but it also goes down. Blessing the day means accepting my full quota of light and dark, even when I cannot see what I am blessing. Is this dangerous? Perhaps. At this point, I am more afraid of what I leave out instead of what I might let in. With limited time left on this earth, I want more than just the top halves of things. The spirit, but not the flesh, the presence, but not the absence, the faith, but not the doubt. This late in life, I want it all. Among the other treasures of the darkness I have dug up along the way are a new collection of Bible stories that all happen after dark, a new set of teachers who knew their way around the dark, a deeper reverence for the cloud of unknowing, a greater ability to abide in God's absence, and by far the most valuable of all, a fresh baptism in the truth that loss is a way of life. That last one is a hard one to trust, which is why I need to keep walking in the dark. It takes practice to keep stepping into la noche obscura, to keep seizing the night as well as the day. My hope is that when the last big step comes, both my legs and my heart will know the way. Thank you for reflecting with me these last few weeks about the darkness and the light. I hope that these have brought seeds or maybe a little bit of confidence to turn off the lights a little bit, to challenge yourself. So, today I'm going to close this with a slightly different reflection from a book called Advent and Christmas with the Saints. And the first is just some verses written by Saint Dimitri of Rostov, who lived in the 17th century, who writes, "Come, my light, and illumine my darkness. Come, my life, and revive me from death. Come, my physician, and heal my wounds. Come, flame of divine love, and burn up the thorns of my sins, kindling my heart with the flame of thy love. Come, my King, sit upon the throne of my heart, and reign there, for thou art my King and my Lord." And a prayer. Let us pray. O Lord, I often forget that because you are God of all, you are certainly the God of darkness as well. So why do I plead to be led out of my darkness? You are with me always, even in my deepest pit, calling me, loving me, just as you have promised. O God of darkness, I pray that I might find you in the darknesses of my life, in those moments when I am blind to the beauty of creation, when I am frozen to the love of community, when I am lost to your abiding presence. Amen. on this, the almost longest night of the year. I wish you peace in the darkness, and as the days grow longer again and the light increases, I wish you joy. You are always welcome here. Your questions are always welcome here. Your doubts are always welcome here. At Georgetown Lutheran Church, and indeed always with God. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and have a blessed rest of Advent and a Merry Christmas.